Hello, all you lucky people.
Good evening, all you hundreds of
Excuse me.
people in the chat. There's just too
Well,
many to count.
six, yeah. I can't count them on one hand.
No, it's very,
Uh,
very difficult when you got that many.
let's see, you got Ted Branston and First Floor Audio. Who let the camel in here? Oh, wait, that's you.
Yeah.
Hey, Ted, how you doing? How's Connor, your dog, doing? He drops pictures of that dog occasionally. The thing's getting big. Ted, if you go missing, we'll know what happened to you. The dog got you, gnawed your bones.
Yeah. Oh, D Rock's there as well. All right, D Rock,
Hey,
how you
D-Rock,
doing,
how
mate?
you doing? Ted,
I'm sure
D-Rock.
Kafida will be across in a minute.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. I got six watching, but only a couple talking in the chat. So, and lots of lurkers tonight, but that's okay.
That's it. It is what it is, mate. You know.
You don't have to talk if you don't want to. You don't have to
No,
talk in the
no,
chat.
you just stay on the fringes. All right. This is a
Yeah,
fringe show.
it is.
Obviously, it's fine to be fringe.
Better weird than plastic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
Well,
I've
Lee,
got my
how you
coffee.
been? What you got going on? You had
I'm all right, mate. Same
lovely
old,
show
same
last
old.
night, and
Yeah.
you've got another one coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's
Yeah.
Thursday. Yeah, it's Radio 1FA, back-to-back original tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. And for some reason, YouTube keeps copyrighting my original content.
Hey, there's Joanne Yoda girl. Yeah, your original
Hi, Joanne.
content, you have to copy strike yourself to clear that up. You
Yeah.
file a claim and collect it from yourself. Split the revenue
Yeah.
with yourself.
Yeah. It's absolutely stupid. It's an AI that's doing it. It's not
Yeah,
even. It's not like people coming to your show and go, "Oh, that's my content." If they would watch through the show, they'd realise that not one bit of it is anybody else's crappy song.
yeah. Oh, I've gotten hit with that reused content before, and everything I do is 100% created by myself. Now, I do use stock footage, but that's licensed.
Yep.
And I've had people do that. Other people that have licensed the same clip, try to claim my video. Don't work that way.
No.
Those are easy to dispute, but it's still a pain in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I have to keep on giving them an explanation as to why it's not their content, you know. And I said to him, I said, if you took the time to actually watch rather than letting a bot do it,
Yeah,
you know, you'd realise that not one bit of that is anybody else's content but my own. And I keep
except for
repeating that
your
it's my own.
singer-songwriter night, but you know that the rest of it's yours.
Well, the
Or your
the live singer
singer
performance is
performance.
cover
Yeah.
versions. Yeah, that's it on a Saturday. And but I don't put on the monetization on that. I leave it off.
And supposedly you can use so many seconds of a copyrighted song without getting a
Yeah,
claim on it.
yeah.
But I
No, you
think one
can't.
night she played about three notes of some Sir Elton song or something, and
Yeah,
he needs toilet paper for one of his 20 bathrooms. So
that's it. No, yeah,
he,
that's it,
he
mate.
took those
That's all it
nickels
is.
and dimes away from you.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's not even. It's not. Wouldn't even be him personally, kind of thing. Anyway, it's the record company.
Oh yeah,
You know, and you know what they're like. They're just the devil. You know.
oh yeah.
So yeah. All right,
Well,
Garthy, how you doing?
Garfy, how you doing? Good to see you. Did anybody in the thriving masses here? Did you hear my appearance the other night on Coast to Coast Radio with George Norrie?
I missed that, mate. It would have
Yeah,
been too late in the morning. I think
I
it was
don't
about
think it's
5 a.m. in
quite.
the morning.
Yeah, it played from like I was on from 3 to 5 a.m. Eastern time, so it would have been 8 to 10 a.m. for you. You could have
Yeah.
got up for that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't even realise it. I didn't even realise that was it. I thought it was just on in the middle of the night, so I didn't think I'd get to it.
Yeah, well, it starts at midnight Pacific time, so.
Right.
But
All right.
I got up. I went to bed early after Cisco's show, and then got up around 2:30 and got ready to get on the radio with George.
George Norrie's show, eh?
Yeah,
That's a
that's
name and a half, isn't it?
that's the biggest overnight paranormal talk show in the country, if not the world. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was honored to be invited back. I was over there once before, and I thought, well, this is probably it. So I'm going to have a good time. But yeah, his executive producer, Lisa Lyon, just called me out of the blue and, hey, you want to come on with George? Sure.
Sound, mate. Don't you can't be refusing that, can you?
No.
You know, so long as you plug First Floor Audio, I don't mind. You know.
I don't think I did. I think I mentioned you, but I tried to plug everybody. I talked about Belief Hole.
I'm
I
joking.
talked
mate.
about Cisco.
I'm
I
joking.
plugged my
bloody.
books and all my channels. I even plugged this one.
So you have to remember your little lowly mate over here. You know, with his poxy 1,349 subscribers. You know what I mean? You know, you got to think about the little man.
It's a growing channel.
Yeah, I'm a grower, not a shower, mate.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, there's Henry Nelson. How you doing, Henry? Good to see you.
Oh, Henry,
buddy.
hi, mate. How you doing? All the regulars, that.
Yeah, got our crowd, the in crowd, the mods.
It's
and
the
rockers.
inner sanctum, mate. The inner sanctum circle. Yeah, the inner circle of the sanctum. Yeah. All the
Well,
regulars.
we got 9 watching according to this thing, so go ahead and get started here. Now,
Do it,
as
mate.
I said in the description, angels or aliens, there are some shocking similarities between the two. This is controversial, but again, just keep an open mind. We're not saying this is right or wrong. It's just actually the opinion of Susan Woodcarver, who wrote this for me.
It's just a conversation, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
it's just something
many
to think
people have
about.
these. It's
Yeah,
other people that
that's-
have these opinions, and we're discussing them.
Yeah, we make no claims either way. Decide for yourself, and it says that in the video. Now, this was originally on my channel 13 Past Midnight a couple of Christmases ago, so I referenced 13 and the holiday season and stuff. So I thought I'd just go ahead and play it over here because it's on topic for this channel now. But we'll go ahead and get out of here. It's about, I think, about 15 minutes long, and then we'll come back and discuss it with you and give our opinions and listen to yours. But stick around. We'll be right back. The Virgin Mary, protected by angels or aliens? Hello, friends. This is the perfect time of year for 13 Past Midnight to delve into one of the world's best-known mysteries, one filled with angels, aliens, or maybe even extraterrestrial beings from a different dimension. This will be entirely your choice. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Now, Webster's dictionary defines mystery as something that's difficult or impossible to understand or explain. This story certainly fits that bill. Before we begin, do me a favor. Take a moment to picture an angel. This is your vision of an angel. Perhaps you picture a peaceful angel in a white, flowing, graceful gown, complete with halo and a feathery 6-foot wingspan. Or maybe your angel's a warrior angel holding a shield and a flaming sword. Some of you might perhaps envision a small, plump cherub. Others, however, will deny the existence of angels. You may, however, believe in aliens, visitors from the future, or another dimension. Whatever type of being you envision during this story is perfectly fine. Hold its picture in your mind, because it will affect how you hear and interpret the story that I'm about to tell you. So let's go on a journey, my friends. Centuries ago, around 40 to 50 AD, we don't have a definitive date, it's said a woman died or disappeared from the face of the earth. We don't have a body, a specific tomb, or a grave. Legend tells us that 3 days after she died, her body was seen levitating, then speeding skyward before disappearing from view. This woman, or her apparition, has appeared in countries and cities all around the globe, to people of all nations, religions, and creeds, while often telepathically revealing secrets or prophecies. People claim they have been healed through her grace. Some doctors claim their terminally ill patients have been miraculously cured after experiencing a visitation. National Geographic has a global online map with dates and dots where she's appeared. I'll put a link in the description. Of course, you may have already guessed by the title that I'm referring to the Virgin Mary, to the woman Marian, culturally known by numerous names, such as Miriam, Mary of Nazareth, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of Jesus Christ, the Mother of God, Queen of Heaven. In her name, churches have been built over sites where she has appeared and where her faithful congregate to honor her. This woman, whose impact on history and religion was often guided by what she perceived to be angels. Some say these ethereal visitors could have been aliens, extraterrestrials, or even time travelers that returned from the future to protect and guide her. To be certain, she was able to play her part at a pivotal time in history and became the mother of Jesus Christ, who founded the largest religion in the world, Christianity, with over 2.3 billion followers. She is also recognized and honored by the second largest religion in the world, Islam, with just under 2 billion faithful. Now that's over 4.3 billion people who believe not only in Mary of Nazareth's story, but believe in her angels, your choice of appearance, as well. Not everyone believes that Mary of Nazareth existed at all. They say she's a mere myth. Some claim Mary's backstory is too similar to that of ancient goddess legends, dating back to the Chinese, Romans, Greeks, Egyptians, and even Aztecs. National Geographic magazine, however, in their December 2015 cover story, in bold headlines, called her Mary, the most powerful woman in the world. Today, research from many sources, I'll relate some of what we have gleaned about the young life of the Virgin Mary. This comes from different versions of the Bible, apocryphal writings, and the Quran. It includes these ethereal beings, angels or aliens, who accompanied and appeared to Mary during the most treacherous times of her young life. Now, when I began this story, I asked you for your personal vision of an angel or an alien. Now I'm asking for one more thing. Picture a 3-year-old girl, a child you know well, perhaps your daughter or granddaughter, even a great-granddaughter, a niece or neighbor's child. See her beautiful little smile. With her in mind, imagine the following scenarios, because this is how it would have happened to young Mary of Nazareth. The Bible tells us that Mary's mother, St. Anne, was barren. When she and her husband were past childbearing age, an angel, remember, your choice of appearance, suddenly came to her out of the blue. It confirmed her prayers would be granted. No matter her age, Anne would become pregnant. Legend tells us that Anne promised the angel that if this came true, she would dedicate the girl to the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. According to ancient texts, temple virgins would work and live in the temples doing basic labor, preparing food, cleaning and sewing altar clothes for the priests. True to her word, Anne left young Mary at the age of 3 in the care of temple priests. Now this must have terrified the child. Can you imagine a 3-year-old being removed from everything she knows, her parents and home, to be left in a church or a temple? Mary was learning at this young age to be strong and adapt to extraordinary circumstances. This was important, as there were many more in her future. What is particularly interesting is that this temple, named the Second Temple, was quite celebrated. It was said that its inner altar, the Holy of Holies, was built specifically to hold the famous Ark of the Covenant. The Bible notes that Jeremiah hid, then amazingly lost, the famous Ark. Historians claim that this Second Temple's room of the Holy of Holies was empty. Others say that this was a ruse, and the Ark of the Covenant was secretly kept there. Scholars argue that while this was Mary's new home for the next 10 years, women were not allowed in the inner altar area, and the high priests were only allowed to enter it once a year. But Mary, because of her status, may have been allowed into the Holy of Holies. If we are logical, the Holy of Holies had to be clean and spotless when the high priest entered it. It makes sense that the temple virgins would be assigned to clean this empty room. If the Holy of Holies was found to be filthy and dusty, it would be abhorrent and blasphemous to God. Who better than little Mary, St. Anne's miracle child from God, to care for this holy area and be in close contact with the formidable Ark of the Covenant? For those of you whose vision of an angel falls into the realm of aliens, this should be of great interest. Consider that St. Anne, visited by an ethereal being, somehow conceives, and in doing so, promises to hand over her only child to the Temple of Jerusalem, where the powerful Ark of the Covenant resides. Coincidence? But wait, there's more. For those of you who picture your angel as a warrior of God, his duty and honor would be to protect this young girl and the precious Ark of the Covenant.
Perhaps that is why the ark was hidden in this temple, along with a girl destined to be the mother of Jesus Christ. So, which do you believe, angel or alien? But the story gets even stranger, or more miraculous, your choice. After 10 years of temple service, Mary, now 13, has left the temple. To find her parents pledged her to a carpenter. She decides, with their approval, to vacation at her cousin Elizabeth's home. The Bible tells us that while visiting Elizabeth, an angel, of your choice, unexpectedly appears to Mary. One of the most thoughtful paintings is The Annunciation, painted by Henry Ossawa Tanner in 1898. Mary, sitting on her bed, a perplexed look on her face, stares at a tall, elongated white golden orb. This angel is telling her that God has decided she would bear his son. According to the Bible, Mary speaks up. She doesn't hesitate to tell the angel, in no uncertain terms, that this is quite impossible. She is arguing with an ethereal being, quite possibly an orb-looking entity, whether an angel or an alien. Evidently, this 13-year-old has gained enough confidence and strength of character while living with high priests. Here, in Mary's room, a being suddenly not only appeared, but is actually speaking to Mary. This confirms to her that she is not imagining, dreaming, or that this being is not an illusion. Mary argues that she can't possibly be pregnant. She has never been with a man. The orb assures her that soon God will impregnate her, but promises that she will remain a virgin. This is a lot for any teenager, or even an adult for that matter, to grasp. Even the Bible tells us that, quote, Mary was greatly troubled at his words, end quote. This has to be one of the greatest understatements in the Bible. A teenager is being told by a floating orb or some type of being she believes to be an angel that she will immediately, in some unseen way, become impregnated. Not only is this surreal for Mary, but she is fully aware of all the details that come with being pregnant. Somewhere, somehow, after this visitation, the Bible confirms that Mary is indeed impregnated. That she's been pledged to Joseph just makes everything worse. During that time in history, being pledged was a binding contract. The couple were considered married, although the woman would live with her parents for 3 years before the marriage ceremony. There were strict laws about engaged or pledged women sleeping with men. Mary's life and her child's life were in danger. Here is the exact written law at that time. Quote, if there's a virgin pledged in marriage to a man, and another man encounters her in the city and sleeps with her, you must take both of them out to the gate of that city and stone them to death. The young woman because she did not cry out in the city, and the man because he has violated his neighbor's wife. So you must purge the evil from among you. End quote. So Mary stays with her cousin for 3 months before making the trip home. She's quite obviously pregnant by now. She must gather the strength to face her mother, her father, and her fiancé. Now the texts tell us that Joseph is only a few years older than Mary, probably 19 or 20. 13-year-old Mary, although strong-willed enough to question an angel, must have been truly frightened. Her only recourse is to tell the truth. Remember that I asked you to picture a 3-year-old girl? Picture her now, grown into your teenage daughter or granddaughter. She's at your kitchen table, sitting across from you, telling you this story. Do you believe her? What could Mary possibly say that would convince her parents and Joseph that she had not been with another man? Perhaps something like this. 3 months ago, while I was at Elizabeth's house, I was in my room when a bright light suddenly appeared out of thin air. It spoke to me, disappeared, and then God made me pregnant. He says I will have his son. Now, the family had to think that their daughter was lying. The law would be upheld. As decreed, she would be stoned to death. There was nothing they could do to save their daughter and unborn grandchild. When the family explained this story to Joseph, he was rightly horrified. Can you imagine a young man being asked to accept such a story? From most accounts, Joseph was a local carpenter. This would have made him the laughingstock of family and friends. If Mary wasn't stoned to death, he was being asked to raise another man's child because his fiancée claimed that God had impregnated her. Hearing this absurd story, he would feel no differently, I don't think, than any man would today. Joseph was furious, but he loved Mary. The Bible says, quote, because Joseph was a righteous man and was unwilling to disgrace her publicly, he resolved to divorce her quietly. This solution would save her reputation and the certain death of her and her unborn child. But now the angels, you see, had other ideas. One night, an angel or an alien, again your choice, appears to Joseph in a dream, promising him that Mary was indeed still a virgin. We have it straight from the Bible. The angel said, one conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son. The angel in Joseph's dream must have been very, very convincing, because Joseph had gone to bed furious with Mary, ready to divorce what he saw as his cheating fiancée. He woke up the next morning with a total and complete about-face. No stoning, no divorce. You have to wonder what the angel, or alien if that is your idea, could have possibly said, done, or even how it appeared to Joseph to so radically and totally change his mind 180 degrees overnight. It would have taken something quite amazing. The Bible says, quote, when Joseph woke up, he did as the angel of the Lord had commanded him and embraced Mary as his wife, end quote. Sounds as if that angel, in whatever form it took, had literally put the fear of God into Joseph. Because of a census, although Mary was heavily pregnant, Joseph and Mary traveled to Bethlehem, where Joseph had been born. The Bible tells us that during this time, 3 magi, or wise men, from the east, arrived in Judea, requesting an audience with King Herod, the king of the Jews. They recounted that they were following a star that would lead them to the new king of the Jews, who had recently been born. Currently, numerous astrologers, examining the timeline between about 2 and 20 AD, have tried to pinpoint supernovas, planet alignments, or even meteors coming from the east and traveling across the sky that would have led the Magi to Bethlehem. Astrologers have so far been unsuccessful in making this connection. So what were the Magi following? Angels? Aliens? Possibly a spacecraft? We have no idea. The Magi followed the star until, according to legend, it stopped over Bethlehem. After the Magi left, Herod flew into a rage. Not knowing where to find Jesus, he directed that all male boys 2 years and younger be killed. It's called the slaughter of the innocents. Shortly after Jesus' birth, in a dream, an ethereal being, again, your choice, angel or alien, appears to Joseph, warning him of Herod's plans and telling him to take his family and flee to Egypt. Angel or alien, either way, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus were under some strong protection. They fled to Egypt, where they stayed for 3 years until receiving word from another angel that King Herod had died and they could return to Nazareth to raise Jesus. Both legends and the Bible stories of the Virgin Mary's life are filled with angels, or, if you prefer, aliens. Ethereal beings appeared to young Mary and told her she would be impregnated by the Holy Spirit. These beings helped her elderly mother and father, St. Anne and St. Joachim, conceive Mary while extracting a promise that her daughter would be raised in the Temple of Jerusalem, possibly close to the Ark of the Covenant. These same unearthly beings would strongly convince Joseph not to divorce Mary, but to embrace and care for her as his wife. An angel or a star or a spaceship, depending on what you believe, led the wise men to Bethlehem. And finally, a being, certainly not of this world, warned Joseph to flee to Egypt to save his family, and then advised him when it was safe to return. The faithful will see all of this as God's plan. They will see his angels as emissaries, guardians, and messengers to the Virgin Mary. Those that believe these angels are extraterrestrial beings, visitors from the future, guardians from one of the 10 dimensions, came to earth to ensure that this man, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, would be conceived so his words would be translated into the most read book in the history of the world. No matter whether you believe in angels or aliens, dimensional visitors or spacecrafts, whether you believe in the Bible, the Quran, or simply Jesus Christ's words and philosophies, we still have the same outcome, just arrived at in a different manner. Jesus Christ's mother was protected and guided by ethereal, unearthly beings, so his word of peace and love could be brought to 4.3 billion people throughout the world. So what do you think? How do you picture these ethereal beings that protected Mary? as angels or interdimensional beings? Leave a note in the comments section, but please be polite and kind. The paranormal community, by its very nature, is known for being open-minded and tolerant of different viewpoints, belief systems, and possibilities. Whether you believe in angels, aliens, or visitors from another dimension, I hope they're all smiling and bring each of you peace and love. This is a difficult time of year for many. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. I wish you all are able to celebrate whatever holiday or holy day that is important to you and yours. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time. Best holiday wishes. Be sure and hug your animals for me.
Well, Lee, what do you think?
Well, firstly, I just want to say one of the hardest things to ever start talking about is the religious side of things. And
Yeah.
you got.
I said it's going to be controversial, so
Yeah,
possibly
you've
controversial.
always got to be careful with upsetting, theologists or whatever. So, I understand it. I mean, the thing is, it's of the times, right? So, in this day and age, we see things as visitations from alien beings, but in them times, those same interactions could have been seen, like you said, as a holy of holies sort of thing, as the visitations from things that came from above, from the heavens. Because don't forget, they called the sky and the stars the heavens. So to them, that was the heavens. So anything that came from there would have been regarded as heavenly, yeah. So whether it's just the name that's changed, I personally think that they're all on drugs. No, I'm joking. But see, it's really hard, isn't it? Because trying to mix the two things. Trying to mix the idea of the way we see modern day aliens idea, the archetype of aliens, and how they would have seen it then. But then there's lots of stories nowadays of visions being given to people so that they're not frightened of what they see. So, like, for instance, an ice cream van and an ice cream man rather than a spaceship and an alien, And so maybe back in them days, it was... oh, hello, he's disappeared. Maybe back in them days, it was it was the same thing, but they were given visions of these holy angels that with wings and stuff to make people feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
There we
What
go.
happened there, mate?
The aliens knocked me offline there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, it's on your perspective and whatever paradigm, whatever religious belief system you have.
Yeah.
And maybe people because back then people were, I think, a lot more religious than they are these days in
absolutely.
some regard.
Absolutely. So if there was something to interfere with humanity, say, for instance, and they wanted to introduce their DNA, for instance, into the population, but they wanted it cared for to see it come to fruition, yeah, as in like an experiment, say, for instance, then what better way than to fool whoever it is into thinking that it's a godly act, it's a religious act, impregnate a woman, yeah, and send her off and then sit back and watch what goes on, see how that more upgraded human acts and reacts and teaches, so maybe that was part of the start of the mindset change. And it's hard to explain. Maybe that was the introduction of of DNA that made people slightly smarter, you know what I mean, and started upgrading them on a mental capacity level, rather than instant belief of everything. There was more twists to the whole idea, there was more statements came out from that moment onwards, weren't there, rather than the dogma, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's food for thought. And again, like I said, I'm not anti of any kind of religion. What your path to salvation is yours alone, and whatever you
Absolutely.
believe. I'm
Yeah.
not saying anybody's right or wrong. I'm not here to argue opinions. I'm just here to present this. And again, Susan Woodcarver wrote this. Now, she came out of Catholicism. She was, I think, basically raised in a convent. So
Yeah.
she's looking at it through a decidedly Catholic lens.
Well,
But
absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? You look through things with the lens that you're given, you know, and it's hard for someone to look outside of that realm if you're I don't want to say indoctrinated, but if the only information that you're ever given is of one particular certain type of thing, anybody comes in with a different slant or different view of that is going to upset your belief structure. So you're gonna resist. At the very least, you're gonna resist it, aren't you? And probably be upset by it because you don't want your narrative broken because you have that sense of faith. You know.
yeah, but it talks about, and in a lot of instances, not just the ones that spoke to Mary, but throughout the Bible, anytime these angelic beings, if you want to call them that, appeared to people, the first thing out of its mouth or out of its mind into your mind was "Be not afraid, fear not." So
Yep.
these things must have been frightening. I don't think they looked like other people or like humans.
No.
I think
No.
they were big or scary or who knows. But if it was an angel, you don't think it would not necessarily be something that you were afraid of. But
Yeah.
I think
And
our
that's the
perception, like
thing.
in the beginning there,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a gossamer winged being in a white gown or a cherub or something like that. I think some of these things are big and scary. Hey,
I,
Slumber
I
Blackboard, how
think
you
it was
doing?
that. I think if there was something like that, that'd be the way to actually get someone to do as they're told, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Would be to frighten them rather than to ask them nicely. Because if you're the sort of being that can be argued with, like this allegedly Mary argued, then I I I don't think that would work. I think the only way to get someone on board, like Joseph ended up being on board with the whole, my wife's been impregnated. That it does make you think though. And when a young girl was left with a bunch of priests, let's
what
not
could
go there.
possibly go
But
wrong? Yeah, but
yeah, what could possibly go wrong there? You know what I mean? And I mean, like I said, yeah, times were different, completely different then, and the way and the thing is, with sexuality and stuff, if you want to go there, um, those kind of things weren't even thought of as they are today. It was just sex to them people at them times. It was nothing to do with, being gay or any of these other terminologies that we have piled on today. It was just back then. Nobody would have thought anything about it, but no one also would have thought that priests could do such a thing
yeah,
because they were holy. So
right.
the mindset would have been there's no way on earth that she wouldn't be safe with these men. So you can't also judge the mother for as far as she was concerned, she was passing her daughter on to the most holy place that she could be because to
Which
her she was
in their
holy.
minds would have been the safest place for a young girl to
Absolutely,
be.
absolutely, yeah.
So
So
stands
it's
to
it's a
reason.
it's a very difficult one. That's why I said it's a difficult ground to walk on, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
it's
and
like
especially
boggy
in
ground.
our days and times, with anything goes attitudes that people have today, it's a whole different mindset.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not there. I mean, today is just debaucherous, and people think that, they write off the idea of being punished by God and stuff like that as a joke, and they mock the Lord kind of thing. And I don't know if that's such a great idea. Personally, I think you're better off. What if?
Yeah,
So what if you're wrong? What you're going around and acting like, debaucherous and doing acts that are just disgusting.
and then you
What if
you,
that
you
is?
come to
What
find
if?
out there is an afterlife, and
Yeah. Then
you're
you
being
are.
held
Then
accountable for all this. Okay, maybe I
yeah.
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. That's it.
So
That's it.
much better to
What
err
rather
on the
than
side of
rather than
caution.
that, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not atheist and I'm not overly religious, but I was, brought up C of E, so Church of England, which
Yeah.
is Christian. So I I mean, I never really talk about religion or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't
and I,
really raised anything, maybe a heathen, but later on,
yeah, yeah.
one
Well,
of
my
my
mother
mom's
tried to get us
brothers.
to be my
Yeah.
mother tried to get us to be Mormons at one point, and I had a lot of questions when I was 7 years of age in this Mormons place in Sunday school, and they summarily asked my mum to keep me away. I
Take
had
that
too
boy
many,
and go.
yeah, I had far too much to say and too many things to ask. So yeah, that was that. But like I said, I wouldn't mock anybody's belief in any of these things because, you don't know. You don't
Yeah.
know.
And I don't like organized religion. That's just not my bag. Never has
No,
been.
no,
But I like.
no.
I'm spiritual, but not religious.
Same as that's what I
I
would say.
mean,
I would say I'm spiritual. I believe in something more than us than we can even understand.
even Christ, if the only two times that I can think of that he was in the temple or in the church, he was in there driving the money changers out, and he was
Yep,
in there as a tiny kid teaching the priests things.
yep,
So Jesus didn't go to church and sit on the front row and say, "Look at me, I'm the Son of God."
yeah,
No, he
exactly.
was out in the
Yeah,
streets talking to
being a person, being a
with
human.
the drunkards and the prostitutes and healing the
Yep,
sick and things like that. So I think a
yep.
lot of people, I don't know, and
It's not about being a virtue signaler. Let's put it
yeah,
that way. It's
to go to
about just
church
being
to see and be
human
seen.
and being as good as you can with what you've got. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? You don't have to be the star child. You don't have to be because we're fallible. Human beings are fallible. We have thoughts and emotions, and a lot of the time they reign supreme and they take over. Self-control is one of the hardest things to do. You know,
yeah.
so
I can
and
speak to
you
that.
judging yourself. You'll always judge yourself. You don't need to be judged by a greater being. You're already judging yourself.
Yeah.
Every step
And
of the
even
way.
likewise, you judge not, lest you be judged. So it's
There you go. Yep, yep. But
and
at the same time, if someone asks for judgment and you give judgment, they've asked for that. You know.
right.
So,
It's a bit of a sticky wicket there, as you would say. But
yeah,
again,
yeah.
these are just our opinions. You can agree or disagree.
Yeah. And like I
I'm
say,
not going to fight you over religion.
just like rear ends, we've all got one. Opinions are
Like
like rear
opinions are
ends.
like rear ends.
Yeah,
Everybody's got one, and most of them smell. So there you go.
yeah. That's it. Yep.
And I'm same with my opinion. My opinion, and $5 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks, maybe.
Yeah. I'm exactly the same. Like I say, my opinion means nothing. It's just another person's point of
Yeah.
view.
If asked, I'll give my opinion,
Yeah,
and those opinions can change, but I don't go around trying to force my opinion on
force your
people
opinion, and
or saying
that's the thing.
this
Yeah,
opinion is the only correct opinion, and that's what turns me off of a lot of people.
yeah. Same here. Well, I mean, even recently, that's done that to me. Because some people won't have a debate or an open conversation about something once their mindset is there. They can't even move slightly there. Do you know what I mean? And it's sad, really, because
Glenn's
you know
got it right here. Religion messes up belief.
it
Indeed.
does. Yeah, absolutely.
Very.
Yeah, dogma does that, doesn't it? Or like blind belief as well. Because this person said this must be true. And it's the same. People's new religion really is political. You know what I mean? It's a you're the most righteous because you're on this side, or you're the most righteous because you're on this side, and those lot over there are evil demons, and these lot over here are evil demons, to the opposite party, and it's just number one, it's divisive, but it's also childish. You might as well be in a playground fighting over who's being picked for a game. It's
Yeah.
it's childish. It's really unimaginative. And
Ted's got a good one there too. Religion cares about religion, not God.
yeah, you get exactly. It cares about itself, its own image. It's a virtue signal. You know what I mean? It's like, look at us, look how righteous we are standing here with our cloaks and everything, and we are holier than holy, whilst they're playing with little boys around the back.
Yeah.
So, it's it's not all of them, obviously, clearly, but I mean a vast majority. And that can't be argued.
It happens. And
Yeah.
their usual answer to that is a geographic cure. They're moved to another location, another parish, another
Yeah,
church.
they're not disbarred.
They don't address
They're not
the
disbarred
behavior.
at all. No, they're just moved along. I mean, yeah, good idea, mate. Just take someone that's been sickly on that area and take them to another place where they can be freshly
And,
sickly.
make them somebody else's problem.
Yeah, it beggars belief, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And yet they'll preach to you how righteous they are.
Mhm.
So like I said, this is why with organised religion, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan like that, because
Yeah,
it is a
me neither.
cult. It's all
Yeah,
cultish.
and again,
There's lots
to
of
each their
cultish
own.
behaviours.
If it works for you, whatever works for you works for you. You
Problem
be
is
you.
with humans. It's a proven psychological fact. We all need leaders. Most people need to be led. Most people are quite happy to be a sheep. You know what I mean? To have someone to tell them what to do and where to go, and they will follow blindly. You can pick those people up. I mean, look at the people that pay $333.33 a year to be part of Wilcox insiders clubs kind of thing, and get nothing for it at all. But they feel that they're an insider. They've got inside access to things that are just nonsense, utter nonsense. But because their belief structure is such, they want to believe so badly, in that they do believe in dogmas and talking heads to such an extent they'll destroy their own family for it.
That's how you get these cult leaders. People are searching. People are hurting. There's a hole in there that they're trying to fill, and they're just looking for anything to put in there.
There you go, and that's the
some
same. That's the same
slick-talking
for
person comes
politics.
along.
Yeah, and it's the
somebody
same for
that's
politics. Like I said,
charismatic.
they'll be dogmatic. No, my side's right, your side's wrong. Nobody comes to the middle and goes, do you know what? Stop all the name calling and the accusations. It's about policy, isn't it? And things like that. And it should be the same for humanity on every kind of level. There should be this balance, the agree to disagree thing, and the find a way to the middle, where you can both be pleased and both be happy and both walk away. Like you can still talk to each other as neighbours, love thy neighbour. It comes down to that again, doesn't it? Whereas nowadays attitude is hate everybody unless they're you.
Yeah.
So if you're that way inclined, then you got to hate anybody that's straight, and if you're straight, you've got to hate everybody like that, and if you're this side of the political line, you've got to hate them over there, and if you don't, you're a bigot, a racist, xenophobe, all the just name
divide
calling.
and conquer. That's the thing to keep the infighting going on.
That's it.
And nothing ever gets done.
Yep. Well, that's the idea. Whilst they all become millionaires, I mean, it cracks me up. A minimal paid job. I mean, in this country as well, it's supposed to be a minimal paid job being in politics, but somehow they're all chosen from schools like Eton and Cambridge and stuff like that, and they're born to be.
Yeah.
But how can you be
I've
born
heard it
to
said
be
that
a politician?
They're not elected. They're selected.
They're selected. They're not elected. We don't elect these people. They're selected because they're the only ones that come up through those ranks that are out there asking to be selected, because no one else can get a foot in, because, oh, no, these are from Eton. They're well educated in these things. And they know better. Yeah, what they know about the common man. No. See, that's the other thing. You've got the elite who try to guide the common man, and clearly that's not going to work because they see it from their viewpoint again. See, it's through their lens.
Yeah.
It's all and going back to the story we're talking about. They would, if it was aliens in brackets, if it was aliens, they're going to know the times, and they're going to know how to manipulate. They're going to be advanced in their, if they're the kind of people that can project project a system into your head or project an image in front of you to talk. They're going to know the talking points of the day and how to go about manipulating people of the day, you know.
Yeah.
And as for Mary getting pregnant, then she could have been abducted. If you're going to look at it from that lens, she could have been abducted, impregnated. We do it all the time to animals. We do it all the time.
And then put back,
you know,
yeah.
we impregnate them and then put them back into their thing, or we dart them and we take them, we experiment on them, check them out, and then let them wake up and put them back in their environment. And as far as they're concerned, they've never left. You know, and it would be that. Why wouldn't it be the same?
Yeah.
You know, so and I think that was one of the first early experiments of genetic manipulation. I think, and adding their genes to a human to see how far it would get. And they deemed themselves gods so that the people would accept the Jesus archetype. You know. Maybe it's just a
maybe,
possibility.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
Just a
something
maybe.
to think about, and that's what this is about. We're not saying that any opinion is right or wrong. We're just here to discuss them, not defend them or attack them.
Yeah.
But,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I've even heard people preach about how that the extraterrestrials, aliens, if you will, the Greys and whatnot, those are actually the Nephilim, the fallen angels.
Yeah.
That they're not from another dimension
Yeah,
at all
that's
in
it,
that
yeah,
regard. They're not from outer space, but they're from the depths of hell.
Well,
so who knows?
Well, at one point, wasn't it? It was like anybody that said anything outside of the religious thing was a heathen. Whereas nowadays, because it's been spoken about so much, they've been welcomed into the arms of God, kind of thing, from by the Pope and by lots of religions have said, well, no, they're just God's creatures too. Well, clearly, if God made the universe and stuff, and that's your way of looking at things, that's the lens you're looking at things from, then any creature that's in the universe in its entirety would be God's creation. So to even suggest that it was something other than God's creation, and even demons, who do you think would have created them? So
exactly. So it's
they didn't create themselves.
No. And, we've had some new people come in here. I don't think I said hi to reference one of his comments, but Glenn Danison's here. Chiro Sounds, Midwest Night Watchers, Cherinator, RP Skaza, Sophie Ludiford. And if I didn't say hi to you, it wasn't intentional.
No. I said hello in the chat.
Yeah, I saw you typing with your mind there, because I was wondering, I saw your comments coming up there and I didn't see your hands moving. So
no, because I told you, mate, it's the alien DNA I've got. Yeah,
I'm right there with you. As I talked about last week, I'm RH negative. I have no monkey blood. I've got some kind of off-planet something or other.
Hey, who you calling a monkey? Who you calling a monkey? I'll answer to anything, me.
Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But it is a hard one to look at. I mean, with the three wise men kind of thing, following the star. That one really gets me. Really gets me. It's like, was that a UFO? That because to this day, there's not a star, a comet, or anything that's travelled that way, kind of thing, that's looked like that. I mean, and it stopped over a house. I mean,
yeah, and they followed it, and then there they found the Christ child. So it's very very, very problematic, isn't it? Because, like I said, you're questioning a religious belief. That they followed a star. Wasn't anything else but a star. But why would a star move? As we all know, they're sat stationary in their positions in the heavens, if you want to say. And we know now that they're just stars. They're just they're like our sun. It's just a star. It's just another star. So it wouldn't move, would it? So, but again, you're talking about how If God created everything, he created whatever those beings are too. Our
Yes.
natural was all spoken forth out of the supernatural. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff we don't know
There
in
you go.
man's laws,
Yeah.
physics and science and math and things. Those don't
But
apply
but
to
like
God.
Glenn just said, and I was just about to say the same thing. I mean, the orb, the orbs, plural, that I've seen and many others have seen. You know, these orbs that can't be explained because they don't flash like, you know, traditional aircraft or anything like that, and the light doesn't exude. You know, the light doesn't shine, kind of thing. It's just bright, but it's not emitting light. You know, what if that was one of the early visuals of an orb, you know, that travelled to that house because they'd already abducted Mary and they'd impregnated her with the next genetic line, kind of thing, or, you know, with one of the experiments or whatever, to see what that iteration of a human will do, you know, and maybe then, like they said, speaking through Jesus, kind of thing, that they were speaking their rhetoric. Maybe they were
We
trying
were
to
trying to give everybody an upgrade.
Yes.
Let's put the Christ figure here, and
Yeah.
everybody will listen to him because he's the
Yep.
Son of God, the purported Son of God. He could
There
do all
you
these
go.
miracles,
There you
and
go.
there you go. And that's
And trying to upgrade people in the mindset rather than physically, you know, or physiologically, you know, rather just on mindset alone, and see if they could do it through mindset. But and then see, to this day, millions of people have had this abduction thing, and millions of people claim to have had impregnations, and then 3 months down the line, their impregnation has been taken away as if it was never there, and through the same circumstances of abduction. I don't want to keep doing that, but because, you know, you can't call everybody a liar. This is my problem with this whole thing, because why would just your lowly housewife, you know, who just going about her day, all of a sudden start talking about being abducted by aliens, impregnated, being found positive to be pregnant by a doctor, and having the first couple of scans, and then having the same experience of being abducted and having the baby removed, going to the doctors and them saying, well, it's like you never even had a baby, and yet we've got record of the scans and everything, and the baby being there. It wasn't a phantom pregnancy. And then a few years later, she's re-abducted again and introduced to her child.
yeah,
You know,
I've heard of
I mean,
cases like that.
what a thing to make up. I mean, you know, what a thing to make up, and they wouldn't be the only one. They're in their millions. And of course, mainstream don't want to talk about things like that. And yet, it's something that has been spoken about. I mean, not just the abduction case, the impregnation thing. And that leads us back again to the Mary scenario. You know?
Well, it's like whatever these things are, we have something that they don't. Our essence, our soul. I've heard it said that they don't have souls, and that's why they need these hybrids. Whether they're and it talks about in the Bible that the Nephilim coming down and being with the son or the daughters of men to produce and you know they made all kinds of giants and
yeah. Well, that's what the Nephilim were, wasn't it? Was
Yeah.
the giants, allegedly. But again, I mean, they keep finding bones that are just huge, and there's been lots of sightings on top of mountains of you know, humanoid looking figures. You know, like I said, not everybody's a liar. Not everybody's making little graphical things. Not everybody's a graphical genius to be able to make these little skits, you know, of these things, you know.
and
It's
for
like,
every one that you hear about, there's probably a dozen or more encounters that you didn't hear about because most
There
people
you go.
just will not talk about those things.
there you go, because
They're reticent to
because
tell
of the
their
ridicule
stories.
and because of the instant, that's graphics, especially nowadays. And I think that's why all those things were invented and brought into fruition, so that everything abnormal can be passed off as that's probably graphics.
Yeah.
You know, so no matter how real it seems, because you can't win now, can you? No one can win now when on that thing. Now, if you saw a piece of footage
talking to
that's
somebody the other
clear
day,
as day,
we agreed if it landed on the White House lawn and came
Yep.
out and shook hands with the president,
Yep.
people would say, "Oh, that's a deep fake. That's AI. That's
yeah,
Nobody
Yeah.
would believe it.
Because they've thrown so much crap into the air, CIA. You know, that was the whole invention of TV. You know, mass
That's
control, mass
why they call it
programming.
programming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they call it programming. I've said that since I was a young man, you know, and people used to laugh at me when I used to say things like that, saying, "Why do you think they call them programs?" And they say, "Because that's just what they call them." Okay, because it's so blatant. Look, they don't believe it for a second, but that's what they do,
It's
don't they?
conditioning. They'll introduce something in little doses to the point where you don't even bother you anymore. Don't even think
Well,
about it.
It's
just
the old
it's-
adage: tell the same lie enough times, and it will become true,
And
or
it's like
people
the
will
old,
perceive it as true. You know.
excuse me, couldn't get the mic muted. It's like boiling a frog. You know, the story that you can put a frog in a pot of
Frog,
water,
yep.
hot water, he'll jump out. But if you
Yep.
put him in the cold water, he'll sit there and you just turn the
Yep,
heat on a
and
little bit,
just yep,
and he'll eventually boil alive and not even realize that he's being boiled.
yep.
And that's kind of
And
where
it's the
we're
same.
at.
It's the same
We're
for people's
frogs in a
brains.
pot of
Yep.
water.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you're the kind of person that sees these things happening as they're happening, you know, in the small doses. Like there's a lot of things that are happening with film. I saw a lot of these moves years ago, and I'm like, that's dodgy. For instance, putting loads and loads of men, nearly every actor at some point on films has been put into a dress.
Yeah.
And what was that signifying back there? Well, it's kind of obvious now, isn't it? Yeah, you know what I mean. It's and that goes back to the religious thing, because it's the opposite, isn't it? It's the evil worship, you know. Again, another cult, you know, and that's the thing with the alien thing, you know, because it starts getting into the realm of the religious group that you dare not speak of, because you know, certain Tom Cruises and and stuff are
Yeah,
involved.
they're
You know,
very litigious, shall we say.
let's just leave it at that. Yeah, because not even worth mentioning. We all know who that is when you're talking about that. You know, especially when you go in there with a fair amount of money and you come out poor.
Yeah.
To believe in something that was written by
And
a
with all
science
that money
fiction writer.
comes with the legal teams to sue you into bankruptcy or even out of existence if you dare come up against them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. And like I say, that I it's hard to judge what it was with the Mary thing, but it's kind of suspicious, isn't it, when you compare it to today? And I'm just talking about the situation of people saying they've been abducted by these entities that speak to them in their mind. So again, there's the similarity. You know, Mary was spoken to in her mind. You know, and people of today that were kidnapped, that are abducted or allegedly abducted, say that they're spoken to with their mind. They're also, a lot of them, given imagery so as not to be afraid. You know, they'll see something that they've always loved and talk to someone that or they've always loved, like seeing a loved one. You know, as you know, they come to them as a loved one. Now, is that then projecting imagery? Is it because they've got to mental capacity to be able to project imagery into your head that you'll see what they want you to see, rather
and likewise,
than seeing who
they would be
are.
able to see into yours and say, "Oh, well,
Yes,
you know, this is what his mother looked like. He loved his mother, so we'll send his mother to
there
talk
you
to
go.
him."
There you go. Absolutely. You know, and all you're seeing is a reflection of your own thoughts. You know. So it's like not. That's why you believe it so wholeheartedly, because it's not fictional to you. Then it's a reality. You know, because you know your mother existed. Why would she not come to you? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and if you're religious, even more so, that you see that as a religious episode. You know, that they're coming to you from beyond the grave, kind of thing, or from the heavens, from the Lord God. You know, and you could take that on and like I say, so if they do have these capabilities, it's basically fooling you, isn't it? You know, they're fooling people using your own belief system against you, really.
And I've covered missing person cases where people that came back or didn't go missing, but they heard a loved one's voice coming out of a cave, and it was somebody that would either be not with them on this particular trip, maybe hundreds of thousands of miles away, or somebody that had passed on, yet they're calling, trying to get them to come into this cave. If I hear anybody's voice I recognize and they're not with me and it's coming out of a cave, I'm going the other
I'm
direction.
walking the other way, mate. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that just freaked me out. Hearing someone's voice
But
that you know they're not with you.
whatever these things are, good, evil, indifferent, they have the ability to mimic things that
Yeah.
you know that either maybe they don't realize how much that would frighten you, but other people might say, "Oh, I hear my mother's voice. She's been dead for 30 years, but I'm going to go in the cave and see what's doing that." Not me.
Yeah. So it's like I said, the whole thing. See, again, links back into each other again, doesn't it? As well, if you notice, you know.
Yep.
It's like
One
like
measures
I
a
was
circle,
always,
beginning anywhere. Everything is connected.
it's all everything's connected. Do you not? Always cracks me up as well? It's like people say that, back in the 14th, 15th, 16th century, kind of 17th century, when alcohol was being mixed with the magic mushrooms, because obviously all beer was brewed because you couldn't drink water, so children through to adults were all drunk all the time. Yeah, this we got to understand. Everybody was always inebriated, was always drunk, because they were always drinking beer rather than water, because water was unsanitary. So you'd drink beer, but that beer was also mixed with magic mushrooms, and obviously they're hallucinogenic, right? So you got psilocybin, right? So everybody's taking these
Everybody's having
substances.
visions, but they don't realize it's what they're drinking instead of water.
There you go, right? So
there have
their
been
belief
cases
system
where
is totally, yeah,
it's the molten wheat. I think it's called ergot or something like that.
yeah,
That can cause hallucinations. In one village where they were having all these encounters with wolfmen,
yeah,
werewolves, and things like that, they think that was because of the wheat
Yeah.
mold that these people were cooking into bread, and everybody in the town was eating it, and they
There you
all
go.
hallucinated, a mass
And the
hallucination.
same with the beer, though, and because they were all drinking this beer, everybody across the board was drinking this beer with magic mushrooms mixed into it as well. The hallucinations weren't classed as hallucinations, were they? They were classed as visions of creatures, pixies and
Again, based on that mindset, that religious mindset that those people
There
think they
you
didn't
go.
have anything else to compare it to,
yeah,
it must
yeah.
have been a
Demons.
religious experience.
It was
because I saw
demons,
things
yeah,
that weren't
yeah.
there.
Yeah, it was demons or it was angels. It was, like I said, it would have been from the mindset of the day.
There you go. Legend of Father Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
It is. I said it all goes in circles as well, doesn't it? It's all crazy stuff. It really is.
Well, we're about out of time here. Actually, we're over time a little bit, but
Yeah.
Lee, I want to thank you for being here, and audience, thank you for being here.
Always a
good
pleasure,
time
mate. Always a pleasure.
just to get to sit here and talk with
Yeah,
one
just have
another
a
and
natter,
talk
yeah.
with you guys. And thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Who knows what we're going to do, but be interesting nonetheless. Lee, what do you got coming up?
Obviously, tomorrow I've got Radio 1FA back to back. Hang on. Back to back original tracks. It's a full pint, mate. Not off.
Love it. So I'll see you over there tomorrow night, and then Saturday you got your live singer performance. I've got videos premiering every day, at least one video a day on missing persons
Missing
and mysteries.
persons.
And I have to sit and think about it for a minute.
Well, that's what you get for having too many blooming channels, mate.
And then
You send some of them subscribers over to me. Just chop off a portion, right? And just
I'll send a few thousand over to. But I've been talking about this. I'm going to migrate all the missing videos over to Missing Persons Mysteries, and then I'm going to rebrand Among the Missing with something else. But I think you're going to enjoy it. So we'll see. But stick around. It's going to be interesting for sure. And then there's a lot of other stuff, and there's got a huge announcement coming in about a month or so. But hang on for that. No spoilers, anybody, if you know.
Yep. Huge. It's rather large.
Yep. But we're going to go on and get out of here. Thanks again, everybody. Good night, Chairnator. Hope you feel better. Everybody else, I'll see you either tomorrow night over at Lee's. I don't think I've got anything else premiering tonight on Missing Persons Mysteries. I've got a guy helping me put stuff out over there. And those are, I'm redoing all my old uploads that left. When that channel went south before, I took all my toys and went home, and I'm slowly restoring all that material up there. It's about 300 videos. So it's going to take a while, and then I'm going to move the stuff over from ATM, and I'm working on new material over there too. So busy. But
Busy man, mate. You're a busy man, mate. No. Yeah. Me, I've just got some lowly little music channel, mate, that means really very little.
I've been sending you some interesting links. So take a look at a couple of those things I've sent you in regards to distribution. And
no, I'm definitely looking to look at that new one you sent me. I just haven't. I told you I've been decorating, haven't I?
And with your kind permission, and I'll ask you here, so I've got witnesses. That music you created for 13 Past Midnight and Among the Missing, I'm going to repurpose some of that for.
It's yours to do with. I mean, obviously, I own the rights to it, but you have the full spectrum of whatever you want to use it for.
Because over there now, people are like, "Oh, that music sucks. What is this? Where'd you get this?" And none of it's yours. It's all stuff out of the YouTube audio library and some other places. But it is terrible compared to what you made for me. So.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice thing to say. Thanks, mate. But,
Okay, folks. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Keep looking to the skies. Good night, everybody.
Keep your mind open.
And Lee's going to play us out, not live, but pre-recorded here. Unless he wants to play. You got a little ditty put together?
No, mate. I've got nothing loaded up. I come here to be just Lee.
It's up for you to decide. See, you could write a song about
it. I could do, but I won't.
Yeah. All right, folks.
This is my night off, as I see it.
Yeah, all right. Thanks again. We'll see you next time, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Further on down the trail to your animals. We said hi. Good night.